Right now, it's the first weekend of spring, and it's going to feel like it. How long this warmer weather will last and when the chance for showers will return. And after some mixed signals earlier this year, we're learning more about the future of Foxconn in Wisconsin and what it means for people living in our state. Plus, instead of survive and advance, the Badgers are one and done. How Wisconsin players say this could help them next season.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning. It's March 23rd. I'm Madeline O'Neill in for Josh this morning with meteorologist Chris Reese. We've got the sun coming out. After the winter we had, I almost can't believe when we have nice weather.
I know, and we've been spoiled by some stretches of nice weather.
Yeah.
Although I think this is really funny, but on the first day of spring, like right after the equinox, we had snow flurries.
Oh, I remember that. It seems fitting, though,
I know,
for this year.
very fitting. But yeah, we're certainly enjoying a rather spring-like weekend, starting out with temperatures right around 28 degrees. Plenty of sunshine out there, folks. Winds are calm at the moment. We are at 27 in Wautoma as well. Camp Douglas at 19, the freezing mark as you work your way over towards Mineral Point. And all of these temperatures, oddly enough, are cooler than they were yesterday, generally by about 5 to 10 degrees. Some folks a little more, a little less, but generally cooler than we were at this time yesterday. While most of our winds are calm because high pressure is right on top of us, it's going to be moving towards our east today, and that is going to mean a southerly wind will pick up, especially as we move towards the afternoon. That southerly wind is going to be tapping into some warmer temperatures. Check out parts of Missouri already approaching that 50-degree mark, if not already there. Those are the temperatures that we will see by the time we get you into the afternoon. I do suspect a high right around 50 with enough sunshine, and if the south wind is a little stronger, we may actually warm up beyond that 50-degree mark today. So it's going to be a pretty spectacular afternoon before more rain chances arrive on Sunday and chances for colder temperatures early next week.
I'll take rain over snow at this point. That's fine.
I think a lot of folks agree with you.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
My pleasure.
That drier weather we've seen this week has allowed most area waterways to return to normal. Meanwhile, it's last summer's historic flooding that's wreaking havoc. Reedsburg announced this week it will be losing its only movie theater to damage from flooding. In a Facebook post, Star Cinema says it's no longer economically feasible to stay open. Staff says that's because FEMA isn't allowing them to remodel, which means they're down to 2 auditoriums. The theater is located next to the Reedsburg Main Street Bridge, which was closed in August after the Baraboo River crested. And one of the areas hardest hit last weekend is recovering. After nearly a week, the Highway 16 bridge in Columbus has reopened. Crews had to close the bridge when flood waters from snowmelt covered it. While waters receded earlier this week, city officials had to wait until state inspectors could make sure it was safe. The State Emergency Operations Center says damage from flooding in 16 counties in Wisconsin is now estimated at more than $1.6 million. Now back in Madison, UW researchers are anxiously awaiting the spring thaw so they can test the chloride level of Madison's lakes. The abundance of salt put down this winter is expected to have an impact. Every year, Lake Mendota and other freshwater lakes are seeing rising concentrations of salt because of runoff from road salt. Mendota has a chloride level 25 times the amount it had before salt started being spread on roads around 80 years ago. Of course, the size of the lake makes a big difference. UW limnologist and assistant professor Dr. Hillary Dugan says it takes longer for larger lakes like Lake Mendota to see a high chloride level versus smaller lakes such as Wingrove.
You have to remember that any salt that gets put on the ground is going to end up in water, either in groundwater or in surface water. And so we're seeing 2 problems. One is our groundwater is getting saltier, and so that's a big problem for drinking water here in Madison. And then we also see the concentrations in our lakes going up.
Dr. Dugan says state and local agencies are aware of the environmental threats of road salt on lakes and have been instrumental in implementing policy changes, explaining why Madison usually doesn't salt city streets, although she says this year, of course, was different. New overnight, you may have noticed several squad cars near the intersection of Fish Hatchery Road and Greenway Cross. If you were out overnight, Madison police were called there on the city's west side for a report of possible shots fired around 2:30 this morning. When officers arrived, they checked and didn't find any evidence. Now, despite resignations, in part because of public scrutiny, the Madison Police Department Academy graduated one of its largest classes of recruits, 36 men and women with backgrounds ranging from basketball coaches to an attorney and an aquatic plant harvester will be serving as MPD's newest police officers. During a speech at the graduation ceremony Friday night, Chief Mike Koval challenged the diverse group of new officers to help change the narrative around law enforcement.
You can be an officer and you can wear a uniform and be very blend in with everyone, but when you talk with someone on the worst day of their life and you can kind of give them some sympathy and some empathy, and you can show them that you're a real person as well, just like them, and you're able to change their life, maybe not for the better that day, but for the better in the long run, I'm excited to be able to get that opportunity.
Another class of 50 recruits, the biggest ever, will graduate at the end of May. It's officially a new season here in Wisconsin, and we're not just talking about spring, but construction. Yes, those orange barrels are starting to pop up everywhere. Work has resumed on the multi-year Verona Road project. A reminder that northbound traffic between Williamsburg Way and Raymond Road has shifted back to the new pavement on the west side of the highway where it was last fall. Nightly lane closures between 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. will also start back up again. The DOT says 2 lanes in each direction will stay open to traffic during peak traffic times. The project is expected to wrap up in the fall of next year. Construction is also starting again along an area that was riddled with crashes last summer. I-3990 near Beloit and Janesville will begin construction work in early April. Roughly 13 miles of the interstate will see delays for the next 4 months. While this will cause delays for drivers, the DOT says it's a sign of progress.
Certainly, we went swiftly from winter and cold to the orange barrels and spring weather, but people, I think, are ready to see this change. It's been a long time in the making. We've been talking about these changes at Highway 26 and 14 for the past 4 years at least. And so now we're finally able to put the shovels in the ground and move the dirt to make that change.
Thiessen says speed limits will be lowered in construction zones. And speaking of driving, some analysts say the spring is bringing more green to the ground and less to our wallets. The site Gas Buddy predicts the price of gas to climb toward the $3 mark before peaking this season. We saw a 2.5-cent increase around Madison, now up to an average of $2.53 a gallon. That's a quarter more than a month ago. Wisconsin is among the states that have seen the biggest jumps in gas prices since the start of the year. The Badgers fell victim to the dreaded 5-12 matchup in the first round of the tournament Friday, losing to the Ducks 72-54. There certainly was hope for the Badgers at halftime when Khalil Iverson had a high-flying dunk with 3 seconds left that tied the game at 25. But the second half was all Oregon. Greg Gard said their point guard Peyton Pritchard made the difference in the game. Not only did he score 19 points, but Pritchard set up some of his 6'9" teammates for some spectacular lob dunks. One that really finished things off came in the second half when Oregon outscored the Badgers 47-29. Our sports director Jay Wilson was in San Jose and talked to players and coaches after their one-and-done loss.
We had 3 or 4 possessions consecutively where we didn't get good looks or turned it over, and they were able to capitalize, and then they get separation. It's hard to play from behind against a good team. So we knew that coming in. We had to making shots was going to be a big component and a big part of what we do in order to have success against the zone and to try to loosen them up a little bit.
Our defense has kind of held us together all season long, and then for that stretch there, it kind of went away from us, and we can't be trading buckets. And then there was a couple times we came down and we didn't score, and they were hitting threes, and that's kind of how that lead grew.
The Badgers exit earlier than they wanted, not the way they wanted, but starting another tournament streak was the most important postseason goal.
It was definitely a big step from last year, but it's definitely not the way we wanted it to end. So, like I said, we just got to build from it. It's in the past now. It's nothing we can really do to change the outcome, so we just got to take a step.
There's positives in everything in life, and there's always things to be thankful for and things you can't take for granted. But with that being said, you put a lot of time in for this moment, and to come up short and to let things slip away and know that you didn't perform your best, it definitely hurts.
More local news now. Wisconsin is once again seeing some of the lowest unemployment rates in state history. After 3 straight months at 3%, that unemployment rate is down to 2.9% for the month of February. The record low is 2.8%, which we saw in April of last year. Economy experts say it's a sign of a tight labor market here in Wisconsin. Meanwhile, liquidation sales are underway at Madison area Shopko stores as the company plans to close all remaining stores by mid-June. Those closures will affect another 5,000 employees. Shopko executives say despite their efforts to sell, they couldn't find a buyer. The company is headquartered in Green Bay and filed for bankruptcy protection back in January. And Foxconn says it will start production at its Wisconsin factory by the end of next year. This comes after the company sent mixed signals earlier this year about whether it planned to suspend work in southeastern Wisconsin. Last month, the Taiwan-based company recommitted to building what is known as a Generation 6 factory, which typically makes display screens for smaller devices like cell phones, tablets, and TVs. The factory will be a part of a massive campus located near Racine. A spokesperson for Governor Tony Evers said this week as the Foxconn project develops, there will be ongoing conversations to ensure that Wisconsin taxpayers see a good return on their investment. But the announcement by Foxconn makes it clear that Governor Evers is getting results. And whether you're planning a late spring break trip or looking ahead to summer vacation, we have some reminders to protect yourself and your personal information while you're away. State consumer experts say before you take off for a warmer destination, they suggest checking phones and tablets to make sure they're password protected and operating with the latest software systems. Make sure your bank and credit card companies know about your travel plans and put fraud alerts in place. It's also a good idea to turn off auto connect settings for Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and make sure your social media accounts aren't giving away too much about you or your whereabouts. The family of a World War II veteran is asking for your help to give him the 100th birthday celebration he deserves. Laverne Borchardt is from Fort Atkinson and is a U.S. Army veteran. He will be turning 100 on Memorial Day, May 27th. His granddaughter is now asking the community to send him birthday notes and cards. You can send letters to Lenora Borchardt at 7027 Fawn Lane in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, 53590. Scientists right here in Madison believe they're on their way to developing a drug that could treat multiple forms of cancer. And it's a beautiful weekend to get outside. The first weekend of spring is finally feeling like it. You're taking a live look over the Capitol. Chris is in next with your full first alert forecast.
Happy Saturday, beautiful sunshine out here, and a lot of that's going to stick with us as we go throughout the first half of your weekend. Temperatures, though, starting off a little bit colder than they were at this time yesterday. In fact, we're 8 degrees colder than this time yesterday here in Madison. Most of us are seeing those temperatures in the upper 20s, though some of us are in the 30s. We cooled all the way down towards 24 here in Madison. A lot of folks made it even into the teens. Black River Falls at 19 degrees right now. The wind is calm, and that's fine for now, not creating too much of a wind chill, but they're going to be picking up out of the south and southwest as we go through the afternoon, and that's what's going to be ushering in those warmer temperatures in due time, especially right around here. In fact, we'll see that southerly wind right around 10 to 15 miles per hour at times before things start to wind down, especially towards evening or so. But that southerly wind is why our temperatures are going to be closer towards about 50 degrees today. With enough sunshine and a strong enough wind, I actually wouldn't be surprised for some of us to see 55 degrees or so. It's all about timing with how things will play out for us. We're also watching this region of low pressure just to our west, and I think a lot of folks are paying close attention to that as it has the potential to bring cloud cover and the next chance of rain our direction, and that's going to be crucial, especially in terms of timing, because there's a chance to see the northern lights tonight here in Wisconsin. The farther north you go, I think the better that chance is, but even still, here in Madison, you might be able to see the northern lights on the northern horizon if we can keep that cloud cover at bay. We're under a G2 watch right now. That just means a moderate geomagnetic storm is coming. That's very sciencey terms for the northern lights are going to be possible. Here's how things are going to play out, though, atmospheric-wise. That high is going to move away, allowing that low pressure to work its way closer towards southern Wisconsin. That is going to bring a chance for clouds and showers, especially into Sunday. But then our next round of high pressure is essentially going to squash a lot of that out of here and bring more sunshine, especially towards early next week. So we're going to watch that one closely. The cloud cover likely moving in probably around 11 o'clock towards midnight or so. And if you're going to be out, that's just something to keep in mind. Again, the farther north you are, I think the better chance you are going to have to keep that cloud cover out of the picture to see anything, and of course send your pictures our direction. Rain chances do arrive, though, by the time we get you into Sunday. Temperatures will still be around 50 on Sunday, but cooling down by Monday, struggling to really get out of the 30s to start the week, but then 60s and showers and thunderstorms are possible by Thursday into Friday.
All right, thanks so much, Chris.
My pleasure.
Scientists on the UW-Madison campus are on their way to developing a drug that may be able to fight against multiple forms of cancer. Researchers Richard Anderson and Vincent Cypress are investigating a protein called P53. That protein is known to cause the onset of cancer when it's mutated. However, it can also protect against cancer when unmutated. Now, Anderson and Cypress have discovered an unexpected regulator of the protein, an enzyme, and a lipid. A new discovery that could help prevent that mutation and open up the doors to new therapies for a number of different cancer types. Staying on campus, a UW-Madison researcher is getting international recognition for her work studying plankton and climate change. You're looking at a species of plankton that lives in the Great Lakes and supports fish, including salmon, and a ship used to do research in the Baltic Sea. Carol E. Lee recently received one of 12 grants in French President Emmanuel Macron's Make Our Planet Great Again initiative. Lee says not enough research has been done on the basis of food webs, and she believes that if plankton cannot adapt to climate change, many species around the world will go extinct. She will receive more than $800,000 for her project over the next 3 to 5 years. Well, the toy box is back open. What Woody, Buzz, and the whole gang are up to in the latest look at Toy Story 4. And there are several shows and movies you should find time for this weekend. Will's in next with 3 things to watch. That's just ahead on News 3 Now this morning. In entertainment news, late-night comedian James Corden is returning to host the 73rd Annual Tony Awards. CBS made the announcement this week. Corden last hosted the show 3 years ago. He says he's thrilled to be returning to preside over Broadway's biggest night. The Tonys air June 9th right here on News 3 Now. Walt Disney is opening the toy box again and giving us a peek inside. The film company has released the new full-length trailer for Toy Story 4, which features Buzz and Woody making new pals on a road trip. Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, and a cast of favorites reunite to voice the animated feature, which is the first film in the franchise since 2010. Toy Story 4 hits theaters June 21st. Lucky for us, you don't have to wait until then to watch something good. Here's Will Loper's picks and this week's 3 things to watch.
That's why I live and breathe.
New on home video this week is Mary Poppins Returns.
Mary Poppins, you came back.
You seem hardly to have aged at all.
Really? One never discusses a woman's age, Michael. Would have hoped I taught you better.
Emily Blunt takes on the title role of the nanny in the film that features singing, dancing, and the world's greatest treasure, Angela Lansbury.
You've forgotten what it's like to be a child.
Mary Poppins Returns is available to rent or buy everywhere now.
Off we go.
My name is Peter Parker. I'm pretty sure you know the rest. I saved the city, fell in love, then I saved the city again and again and again.
Also new on home video is one of the best films of 2018, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Look, I'm a comic book, a cereal, I did a Christmas album, and a so-so popsicle. But this isn't about me. Not anymore.
The gorgeously animated film tells the story of multiple dimensions of Spider-Man crashing together in what might be the best superhero film ever made.
Hey guys.
Who are you?
I'm Gwen Stacy. I'm from another dimension.
How many more spider people are there?
Hey, fellas.
Hello.
This could literally not get any weirder.
It can get weirder.
Okay.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is available to rent or buy everywhere now.
Do animals talk in this dimension? Because I don't want to freak them out.
I'll pay you. You don't understand. It's a matter of life and death. If I don't get to my
How much?
$50? Well, you said you just lost everything you owned.
Not my sense of humor.
Finally, this week marks the 35-year anniversary of 1984's Romancing the Stone.
Well, I'm a romance novelist.
You're what? What are you doing here?
I told you. My sister's life depends on me.
Oh, don't give me that. Thought you were donating a kidney or something.
Kathleen Turner stars in the adventure in which she must exchange a treasure map to a gemstone to save her kidnapped sister. And Michael Douglas plays the mercenary rogue who helps her.
Watch it!
See over there by the fence? That's where my mother was born.
Romancing the Stone is available to rent or buy everywhere now.
What are we gonna do now?
Jump!
Happy watching. Those are the 3 things you need to watch. And this is Will Loper for News 3 Now this morning.
There's much more ahead on News 3 this morning, Saturday. Next, we're running through this morning's top stories. Plus, hopefully the Badgers didn't bust your bracket. We'll take you to a school where instead of hoops, kids are wagering on fruits and veggies. Now, 100 people die every day here in America of an opioid overdose. Inside a growing problem, how survivors deal with the guilt they feel in the aftermath.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning. It's 8:30 on March 23rd. I'm Madeline O'Neill in for Josh this morning. We'll get a check on weather with Chris in just a second. But first, let's get you caught up on today's headlines. Congratulations to Madison's newest and largest class of police recruits. 36 men and women with backgrounds ranging from basketball coaches to an attorney and an aquatic plant harvester will be serving as the department's newest police officers. During a speech at the graduation ceremony Friday night, Chief Mike Koval challenged the diverse group of officers to help change the narrative around law enforcement. Another class of 50 recruits will graduate at the end of May. It's one and done for the Badgers basketball team, who fell to the Oregon Ducks in round 1 of the NCAA tournament Friday, 72-54. There certainly was hope for the Badgers at halftime when Khalil Iverson had a high-flying dunk with 3 seconds left that tied the game at 25, but the second half was all Oregon. The Ducks outscored the Badgers 47-29. The Badgers finished the season 23-11. This was their first appearance in the tournament since sitting out last year for the first time in 19 years. You can grab some good deals at area Shopko's this weekend. Liquidation sales are underway at Madison Shopko stores as the company plans to close all remaining locations by mid-June. Those closures will affect another 5,000 employees. Shopko executives say despite their efforts to sell, they couldn't find a buyer. The company is headquartered in Green Bay and filed for bankruptcy protection back in January. Whether you're planning a late spring break trip or looking ahead to summer vacation, state consumer experts have some important reminders to help you protect yourself and your personal information while away. They suggest checking phones and tablets to make sure they're password protected and operating with the latest software systems. Make sure your bank and credit card companies know about your travel plans and put fraud alerts in place. It's also a good idea to turn off auto connect settings for both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and make sure your social media accounts aren't giving away too much about you or your whereabouts. Now we'll turn it over to Chris with the weather. What can we expect, Chris?
Well, we can expect plenty of sunshine along with a little bit warmer temperatures today as opposed to yesterday. For your Saturday, we're starting out at 28, which oddly enough is colder than we were for your temperatures at this time. Yesterday, we work our way towards Watertown and Juneau. They're also at 28, so they your friend. Same for Lone Rock. The Del's a little bit warmer at 31, Monroe at 32. And all of these temperatures, again, a little colder as opposed to this time yesterday. But winds are going to be turning out of the south, especially as we go through the afternoon. They're calm at the moment, but you see those streamlines becoming more southerly. That's why we know that things are going to be a little bit warmer later on. They're tapping into the warmer air that we see just to our south and west, and that does mean temperatures this afternoon are going to take a run at the 50-degree mark, if not exceeding that. Sometimes when you have a strong enough south wind along with some sunshine, you can beat your forecast size. So we're going to watch that number closely going throughout the day, but still things are going to be plenty beautiful. Traffic-wise, if you are headed out, things continue to run smoothly. Here's the Beltline at Park Street right now. A few cars out, no big issues showing up. We are starting to see some slowdowns over by Verona Road. Of course, they've got that construction going on in the changing lanes. But for the most part, traffic is doing great across the city and the county. Maddie?
All right, thanks so much, Chris. Government officials say the cost of this month's flooding is growing. More than 600 homes in the state are damaged. The State Department of Military Affairs estimates damage costs around $2 million. Most of the damage happened in 16 counties. No injuries have been reported. Now, there's a good chance to see the northern lights here in Wisconsin this weekend. According to the Space Prediction Center, much of the state will be in the position to see the lights both nights if it's not too cloudy, with the greatest viewing chances over the northern parts of the state. If you snap any photos of the northern lights this weekend, please send them our way at tips@channel3000.com. And while plenty of people were busy filling out their NCAA tournament brackets this week, kids at one school in Michigan were working on one that involves fruits and vegetables instead of hoops. A school in Niles, Michigan, just across the state line from Notre Dame in South Bend, is using a bracket to get kids more interested in eating healthy foods. Vegetables are on one side of the bracket, fruits on the other. Kids get to try each food in the lunchroom every day and pick their favorite to see which one moves on in the tournament. The hope is that excitement carries over once kids get home after school.
And hopefully they'll go home and say, hey, Mom and Dad, I tried spinach today. Oh, that was awesome. Can we go to the store and buy that? And maybe they'll have that rather than eat chips.
The bracket will run through the rest of the month, ending with a championship matchup between the top fruit and the top vegetable. More local news this morning from downtown Madison. You might notice a fairly drastic change made to a historic building along State Street.
It's a really sad situation. It's awful. I mean, the building is devalued. It just goes to show that permits and processes are very important. You know, with the city, it's got to be done.
Now that's Stephen Manley. He owns B-Sides Records just across the street from the building that formerly housed the Sacred Feather. The person renting that building now painted it black without the city's permission. The owners now have 2 weeks to remove the paint, and if that doesn't happen, the Urban Design Committee will have to figure out what to do next. Even though it's not officially a historical building, it is in an area designated as the Downtown Core District. As the next generation gets older, they'll face a growing problem. Each and every day in this country, 100 people die from an opioid overdose. It's often called an epidemic, and in its wake, hundreds and thousands of families are being torn apart. Plus, survivors are often ridden with guilt.
30 years old.
Cheryl Jouer starts each day scanning the obituaries, a daily ritual since the death of her son Corey in 2011 from a drug overdose.
Not a day goes by that I don't think of him. I miss him. I just miss him a lot. My mom should have to do this, Corey.
It is a heartache thousands of parents across the country know firsthand. According to government figures, more than 100 people die from opioids every single day in the United States. Left behind, a trail of broken families, some who went bankrupt or close to it, others raising grandkids. But in almost all cases, guilt.
I was at a loss for how to help him because he had overdosed about 4 times.
The guilt is really what I think about, did I do enough?
I was willing to do whatever it took to help my child.
When Jacqueline Perrin found out her son was addicted to painkillers and later heroin, she quit her job and tried everything to help him, even confronting his drug dealers.
There were folks sitting on their porch with guns, barred windows, and I would go in there to get him, and there would be a scene because he would be humiliated that his mother would come there in that situation.
For many families, the battle against opioids does not end with the death of a child.
My main goal is to try to save someone's life and to make people not ashamed of this is a disease.
It's a goal shared by other parents caught up in the opioid epidemic.
My 17-year-old daughter, she's not doing very well.
The Center on Addiction has helped train hundreds of parents to become coaches for other families before it's too late.
It produces much more of an empathic approach to people struggling with substances and much less of a stigmatized view that this is just bad, morally bankrupt behavior.
When Jouer lost her son Corey, seeing her dancing at her wedding when he was 11 years old, she didn't know where to turn.
I wanted to die every single day. I had nobody to talk to that understood what I was going through.
That's why she started her own support group called Team Sharing and reads obituaries to see where she can help. She recently met with a police administrator outside Boston whose son died of an overdose several months ago.
They'll always have the pain of grief and losing their child. I can't take that away. But what I can do is help them know that they're not alone.
Parents united by grief, hoping to prevent another loss.
We ask that you bless this food.
Looking for something to do this weekend? We've got you covered. Your Weekend 608 is next on News 3 Now this morning.
Well, good Saturday, folks. High pressure is what's going to stay in control for us, and that does mean plenty of sunshine for your Saturday. We are watching that region of low pressure just to the west, though that could bring some rain chances later on. In the meantime, expect those winds to pick up out of the south and southwest moving into the afternoon, helping temperatures to get warmer than they did yesterday. We should see highs in the low 50s today. Rain chances, though, will arrive overnight, mainly into the morning on Sunday.
Well, it's the weekend here in the 608.
That's right. And here's what's going on around town for this first weekend of spring.
One hilarious show takes the stage later today at the Overture. The Church Basement Ladies and Rise Up O Men is set in the basement kitchen of a small-town Minnesota Lutheran church. This musical comedy introduces the men and the lives of the three matrons around whom previous popular Church Basement Ladies shows revolved. Needless to say, the orderly running of the kitchen is disrupted. You can catch the show at 2 and 8 o'clock.
Madison-based Fresco Opera Theater makes good on its mission to put a modern spin on traditional opera by presenting this week only Mozart's two-act opera Don Giovanni. But this time, it's done as a story about an all-female mafia family in The Sopranos' Don Giovanni's demise. This opera resonates so well in today's social landscape. It's all about the idea of women uniting to take down males who take advantage, suffocate, and demoralize the female gender. But you'll have to go today. There's just one show left. It's at 8 o'clock at the Overture.
1,400 kids in Madison have the chance to get a new bike for free. Free Bikes for Kids Madison will be giving away those bikes all weekend long with the help of 40 community partners. That organization believes a bike should be and can be accessible for any kid that wants one. So if your child or someone you know is in need of a bike, you can pick one up today at the Warner Park Recreation Center from noon to 3 or tomorrow at the same time at the Free Bikes for Kids workshop on Verona Road.
A final Sunday afternoon option for the whole family. This time of year, many birds are on the move. So make Sunday Family Day at the UW Arboretum for their All About Birds Family Nature program. Learn about migration, why some birds take the journey and while others do not, and which ones you might see in your yard. This walk is at 1:30 to 2:30 with indoor activities to follow from 2:30 to 3:30. It's designed for families with children 3 to 11, and the best part, it is free. Just meet at the Visitor Center.
As always, pick up a copy of this month's Madison magazine for all the best in and around the Madison area. A sunny day is on the way for us lucky Wisconsinites here, but will this warmer weather last?
You're looking live over the Capitol. Maddie, you stole my thunder there. But hey, the forecast is next on News 3 this morning, Saturday. We're starting out your Saturday with temperatures just a tad bit colder than we were for this time yesterday, but by this afternoon, I do think things are going to shape up just a little warmer for us. We're 8 degrees colder here in Madison. You walk your way or work your way over towards Waukesha. I hope no one's walking that from Madison, but things are 5 degrees colder than just 24 hours ago. Temperatures mainly in the 20s and 30s for us right now. I do think we'll talk 40s and 50s by the time we get you towards this afternoon. That's because we're going to pick up on a southerly wind. I know winds are calm right now with that sunshine, but once we add the southerly wind component, you really do start to see things warming up. In fact, streamlines already starting to show up out of the south for wherever that wind is blowing. As we push forward through the morning and into the early afternoon, I think we start to see a pretty decent south to southwest wind coming in at about, say, 10 to 12 miles per hour. Not a strong wind, but a breezy wind that's going to come up and help usher in some of those warmer temperatures before that starts to relax later on this afternoon and evening. So expect our highs to be right around that 50-degree mark. If that south wind is strong enough, some of us could exceed that 50-degree mark for our highs today. Speaking of highs, this dome of high pressure, that's moving on out of here. And that's going to create room for this region of low pressure to work its way into town. The caveat, though, is the cloud cover. Of course, we do have that shot to view the northern lights tonight, and that greatest chance to see the northern lights is going to come after 11 o'clock tonight, which is key because cloud cover could be moving in. The Space Weather Prediction Center does have us under a G2 watch. That is spacey terminology for simply saying, hey, there's a chance for solar flare to bring the northern lights into our area. So we're going to watch that very closely. Here's how things play out. Like I said, that high is on the move. Here comes that region of low pressure. Cloud cover is going to be moving in out ahead of that, along with some shower chances, at least earlier on Sunday. Now, once we get beyond that, attention does turn to another high moving down out of Canada. That's going to be squashing any rain chances and any cloud cover out of here and creating some sunshine for us for early on next week. Again, 50 degrees this afternoon. Let's time out the arrival of the cloud cover, though. Here we are at 9:30. Things do still look clear for most of us, other than the extreme southwestern corners of the state. Once we get you towards 1 a.m., it's possible that we may still be clear. This is your shot, folks, to get out and see if you can see the northern lights from about Madison and point south. Towards the north, things are going to hang on to the clear skies a little bit longer. But that cloud cover comes in eventually, along with rain showers into earlier on Sunday, but then we cool down after that, along with plenty of sunshine before warming back up towards the 60s. Rain and thunder is possible by next Thursday and Friday. Here's your pet walk, Bo and Fitchburg with the nice ears there.
I love Bo's tongue. Also
No, I didn't even catch that. That's a good catch. I know. It's just a cute dog all around. Temperatures around 49 later.
All right, thanks, Chris. Stick with News 3 Now all day long, on air and online. And then tomorrow morning, we explore the positive side of technology, how virtual reality is helping a boy fighting brain cancer's dreams come true. But first, a zany home is causing a neighborhood of concerned homeowners to speak out. What's behind the latest so-called upgrades to the Flintstone house? We'll be right back. The infamous Flintstone house in Hillsborough, California, has gone through some visible changes over the last year and a half, and they're causing quite the stir in the neighborhood.
That's right. Andrea Nakano has more on a lawsuit filed against the homeowners.
I don't like the way she did the backyard. You know, when I pass by 280 and look at that, you know, this is Hillsborough, not a amusement park.
From T-Rexes to elephants, a prehistoric theme has taken over the backyard of what's known as the Flintstone home. Even in the front driveway, a Yabba Dabba Doo sign greets visitors on their way in. This property has always caught people's eye from the 280 highway, but now, with the additions, some say it's an eyesore.
You have to, how do you say, go with the area, you know, not like that.
Neighbor complaints led to a formal proceeding in front of the Hillsborough Administrative Hearing Panel, which decided all the statues had to come down.
Well, you can't let people build first and then ask for permission later.
But after numerous attempts to have the homeowner, Florence Fang, comply with the panel's recommendations failed, the city took legal action.
I sent her a letter back in January, which she ignored, and therefore we had to file the lawsuit because it was clear she was not going to remove any of this work.
The city of Hillsborough says there are two concerns: the way the new landscaping looks and safety. It alleges some of the decking and stairs do not have safety rails. As for the statues, the city is worried about them being a potential hazard.
We don't know whether or not those statues are going to hold up in weather or an earthquake because we had no building permits and therefore don't know how they were installed.
Hudak says the homeowner doesn't live there but holds many events there. They've reportedly tried to apply for permits, but the city wants everything removed so they can start with a fresh slate. Well, the weather looked pretty nice in California. Can we expect that?
Yeah, we can expect some sunshine. It won't be as fun as a Flintstone house,
Nothing
per se.
is, be real.
But definitely some nice weather coming our way, at least for today. Sunday is going to be the one day of the weekend that we're going to see some clouds and showers, but it gets better. Look at the week ahead. More sunshine for Monday and Tuesday. I even think that most of Thursday is going to be a sunny day, but Thursday night and the Friday, a cold front coming through could bring some showers and thunderstorms to the picture. But hey, it's that time of the year. We're going to be talking more and more showers and thunderstorms in due time.
All right, thanks, Chris, and thanks for watching. We'll see you back tonight at 10.